You're going to run out of money. It doesn't look like you're getting support from the Democrats on this. You're going against the judges now. What's next?
Another flight.
The Democrats seem to be totally unable to dissociate from the worst kinds of immigrants to the country. So they're totally underscoring what President Trump has been arguing all along, which is they don't just want an open border. They want the worst people in the world coming to the United States, apparently. So we'll get to the legal theory in a moment, but you can see the narrative fight that is building up. So Karoline Leavitt has just been clubbing people about the ears with this narrative. She's very skilled at this. Here she was at the White House yesterday saying, you know why we are deporting members of Tren de Aragua? In order to save people's lives.
Tren de Aragua is now a designated foreign terrorist organization. And as I said, there were nearly 200 Tren de Aragua members who were sent to El Salvador this weekend. Countless lives will be saved because of this action. And if you talk to the families, the Angel families, as I mentioned, Blake and Riley and Jocelyn Nungray, they understand the grave cost of life at the hands of these illegal terrorists. And the president is proud to deliver on that promise for them.
As for the implication that there are going to be mass deportations and everybody's going to get deported, Karoline Leavitt said, well, you know, I have another suggestion, which is if you're here illegally, maybe you should self-deport.
To your second question about the CBP Home app, I would have to check in with the Department of Homeland Security, but it's a great question, and we're very proud to repurpose this app, which the Biden administration abused to facilitate the mass illegal entry of illegal immigrants into our country. It was like a fast pass at Disneyland. That's not happening under this administration. We are encouraging illegal immigrants to actively self-deport to maybe save themselves from being in one of these fun videos.
She, of course, was referencing the fact that yesterday the White House put out a video showing many of these Tren de Aragua members being taken off the plane in Venezuela and basically celebrating that fact. Okay, so the French, there's a French MP, and count on the French to be as obnoxious as humanly possible. A French member of parliament suggested that the Statue of Liberty should be disassembled and taken back given the United States' lack of warmth toward illegal immigrants who are members of gangs as well as terror supporters. And she had some words for the French. And listen, I'm always here for dunking on the French. I mean, the French always deserve it. There's never a situation in which the French do not deserve to be dunked upon.
Absolutely not. And my advice to that unnamed low-level French politician would be to remind them that it's only because of the United States of America that the French are not speaking German right now. So they should be very grateful to our great country.
Fact check. True. Absolutely. By the way, twice. So, again, very enjoyable. This whole narrative, the Democrats seem, again, they keep to just they're stumbling headlong into it, is the idea that they want the worst people in the world staying in the United States. And many of the angles that are being used in order to attack what the Trump administration is doing here are really stupid political angles. So, for example, Tom Homan, who, I love Tom Homan, he's the border czar. On a personal level, I find him just amusing and charming. He's wonderful. The president has invoked, in order to deport Tren de Aragua members, the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. Okay, and so many people are saying, well, that's a really, really old act. You're calling it an invasion. Venezuela isn't really invading. How can you invoke an act this old? And Tom Homan's like, well, actually, we use old laws all the time.
What do you say to those who claim you're using a 200-year-old law to circumvent due process?
An old law? Not as old as the Constitution. We still pay attention to that, don't we?
But some would say this.
I think the thing I love the most about Tom Homan is he's absolutely out of central casting. He does not give any bleeps at all about how the media think of him. And so he just walks in right off the set of a 1957 Western and just starts applying the law. It's really funny. Homan was asked about these flights that are being sent from the United States to other countries containing illegal immigrants. And he's asked what his plans are, and his answer is pretty great.
You got 30 guys in the stack going on different busts every single day. You're going to run out of money. It doesn't look like you're getting support from the Democrats on this. You're going against the judges now. What's next?
Another flight. Another flight every day. The teams are going to be out there every day. Every day, the men and women of ICE are going to be in the neighborhoods of this nation arresting criminal, illegal alien, public safety threats, and national security threats. Lawrence, you're not going to stop us. We made a promise to the American people. The President Trump has made a promise to the American people. We're going to make this country safe again.
We'll get to more on this in a moment. First, unfortunately, in this country, privacy has now become a luxury. To be honest, that's a real shame because privacy should be a prereq for freedom. Without privacy, there really isn't a lot of freedom. Privacy is given to the government, but it's no secret that the NSA is surveilling us. They're buying your information from data brokers. They're watching every move you make online. What if I told you there was a way to stop that train? What if I told you there's a way to get your privacy and your freedom back? You can do that with a product called ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN is an app that sends 100% of your online activity through secure encrypted servers. That means data brokers can't see anything you do online, and their customers, government agencies and big tech companies, can't access those logs either. I've been using ExpressVPN for years. I'm constantly using public Wi-Fi. I'm at the airport, I'm at a hotel. ExpressVPN makes sure that none of my online activity is logged. Just within the last 12 months, ExpressVPN received over 400,000 data requests from tech companies and government agencies. You know how many of their customers' information was shared? The answer is 0, because ExpressVPN has a strict zero logs policy, which means you have your own privacy. Plus, ExpressVPN is super easy to use. It just takes one click. Find out how you can get 4 months for free by scanning the QR code on screen, clicking the link in the description box below, or by heading on over to expressvpn.com/Ben Shapiro Show. That's expressvpn.com/Ben Shapiro Show. Now, meanwhile, Stephen Miller, who's the architect of much of this immigration policy, and Stephen's a super smart guy. He's a deputy in terms of policy for the president. He's a senior advisor to President Trump. He's on CNN with Casey Hunt, and Stephen Miller goes on cable shows and beats up hosts and chews bubble gum, and he's all out of bubble gum today. So he was on CNN with Casey Hunt, and she was asking him about the invocation of the Alien Enemies Act, and here was Stephen Miller taking her to school.
The statute says that a president has the ability to repel an invasion or predatory incursion that is directed by a foreign
state
government.
or a government, right? Are they a state or a government?
This would be. Yes, it is documented that TDA was sent by the Venezuelan government in the proclamation. And here's an even more important point. Under the Constitution, who makes that determination? A district court judge elected by no one, or the commander-in-chief of the Army and Navy? The president and the president alone makes a decision of what triggers that determination.
So do you then
in the
think we
statute.
are actually at war with Venezuela, the nation state of Venezuela?
You're not hearing me, and you're not understanding me.
And he's right. What he is suggesting there is if there's an invasion by a foreign nation, and if Tren de Aragua is being sent by the Venezuelan government, and he suggests there's documents that show this, to the United States in order to create havoc, in order to export them from Venezuela here, then that constitutes an invasion by definition of the president. This is the other point he's making. He's saying that authority for interpretation rests with the president, not with the district judge. Now, if it gets to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court interprets it differently, then maybe that changes the rules. That is the argument that is being made by the Trump administration. A lot of bother is being disseminated about the sort of angle here by the Trump administration with regard to all of this. Andy McCarthy has a breakdown of this over at National Review. According to Andy McCarthy, he points out that the president ordered the deportation with no court process, purportedly pursuant to that Alien Enemy Act, which is a late 18th century statute. It's been invoked 3 times in American history: 1812, World War I, World War II. He says that there may, in fact, be some legal problems with what the Trump administration is doing. He said it's near certain the administration knowingly defied an order issued Saturday evening by Chief Judge James Boasberg to suspend the initiative to deport the Venezuelans, which included an admonition to turn around any deportation flights that had already departed and return detainees to the United States. While a prosecutor temporized about whether he had information necessary to answer Judge Boasberg's questions about whether those deportation flights had taken off, the flights were already underway and continued on their path to El Salvador, it turned out. The Justice Department then tried to end-run further proceedings before Boasberg by filing an immediate appeal to the D.C. Circuit. That circuit issued an order on Sunday directing the filing of a brief tomorrow by the ACLU and other lawyers for the Venezuelans. The Justice Department has been directed to respond the following day. Meanwhile, Boasberg ordered the administration to appear at a hearing he planned to hold at 5 p.m. on Monday in order to probe whether those Trump officials knowingly defied his order on Saturday. And apparently, the Justice Department has asked Boasberg to cancel the hearing because, quote, the government is not prepared to disclose any further national security or operational security details about the deportation flights to plaintiffs or the public. So, they could theoretically say that they don't need to deal with Boasberg. They could deal with the upper court, the appellate court. They already appealed it. Instead, the DOJ is basically saying that they are not going to tell this judge anything. We'll see how that works out for them on a legal level. And again, it's a bit of a complicated legal case because it's unclear exactly the interpretation of the Aliens Enemy Act. It is not clear exactly what level of jurisdiction is applied here to a district judge who's talking about, for example, national policy, whether that whether that district court judge has the ability to halt a flight that is already in mid-progress over the Atlantic Ocean or anything like that. Bottom line is the left is losing their mind over all of this. And again, I'm just not willing to hear it from people who spent all day, every day defending the various illegalities of the Biden administration. It seems strange to me that many of the same people who are willing to defend every legal excess of the Biden administration are now black letter law when it comes to the Alien Enemies Act. You found a weird hook to hang your hat on. Here, for example, is ex-prosecutor Andrew Weissman, who you will remember from his non-stellar work in the intel community, clashing with the Trump administration.
I'm more concerned by the statements coming from that you did the clip of the press secretary saying no judge can do this. I'm sorry, who on God's green earth is she to say that? That's what the courts are for.
Okay, well, I mean, she can say whatever she wants. She does have a right to free speech. Who is she to say that? The same kind of person that you are to say anything. I mean, that would be the actual answer. By the way, Weissman was the person who was second in command in the Mueller report, in the Mueller investigation. So stellar job there, sir. Well, that's all for now, folks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts down below. Be sure to check out all of the other great content on my channel. I'll see you here next time.